your film, the scenery.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what, I felt like I had driven all night. When we went, we were driving, it was sunshiny, and we went through.
They're loading their car, and Dad and Daniel are going to check out.
Is this on Zoom mode?
We're in the sun, Granddaddy.
I know it. Think I don't know anything? Let's go eat.
Let's go eat.
Quite a few, isn't it? That is quite a view.
That is squeaking, isn't it?
I just had it all tied. And that's where it went.
You know, the clouds are pretty well.
It would be fun to take a fire down there.
Is that open?
Tell really how close to the ocean we are.
Well, we will be close, but I don't think we're that close yet. But
That looks like the
we could be.
ocean clouds that are coming in.
We could be listening to it. Well, let's go. What if this is sand ceiling? I bet it is. There's tour number 2 and tour number 3. And
The castle, which is 1,500 feet above sea level. Typically, the ocean acts to moderate the coastline temperature. The hilltop is subject to greater extremes. Winter temperatures on the hilltop are usually cooler, and during the summer it may be as much as 30 degrees warmer. As the road exits the descent, you will notice distinct changes in the vegetation as you move from the coastal grassland through the oakwood land and on up to the ridgetop grounds, which were planted with many exotic species by Mr. Hearst's gardening staff. During the late winter and spring, the grasslands are a brilliant green. As the dry summer season approaches, they turn a golden brown. You will almost certainly see grazing cattle during the trip to the hilltop. You may also see zebra or Barbary sheep. These are the descendants of the large collection of exotic animals that Mr. Hearst kept in his private zoo. As we near the hilltop, a large arbor structure or pergola can be seen to the left side of the road. The pergola was originally covered by grapevines and fruit trees, whereas cleared along its sides. This cool green arbor was built by Mr. Hearst as a place where guests might ride horseback or take a short automobile ride while escaping the sun on a hot summer day. The pergola is a mile long, follows a path not unlike the shape of an elongated horseshoe. When our walking tour begins, we ask your cooperation in following a few guidelines that will help to preserve the Hearst collection for the enjoyment of visitors who are yet to come. There is a museum-quality collection of art and antiques on the hilltop. We have tried to keep the monument looking like the private home that it was. There are few barriers between you, camera flash, or other sources of artificial light are not allowed. An accumulation of camera flashes would be detrimental to the art collection.
Great, I'm glad to hear that. Good, I'm glad to see we have a fairly enthusiastic bunch here. Well, on behalf of the California State Department of Parks and Recreation, I'd like to welcome you here to Hearst San Simeon State Historical Monument. That's kind of a long name, isn't it? Maybe that's why most people call it Hearst Castle. But William Randolph Hearst never called it the castle. He called it the ranch, so welcome to the ranch. My name's Wayne. The main reason I mention that is I hope as we walk along today that you will have some questions for me. We don't have a prepared talk here. I really don't have anything I have to say, except I do have to remind you of the few rules we ask you to follow. Well, come over here and take a look at Mr. Hearst's front yard. Well, you know, his father, Doris, was the one who really made the family fortune. His father came from Franklin County, Missouri. In 1850, came to California. He was going to make his fortune in gold mining and mining, basically. He was a self-taught mining engineer, and unlike a lot of folks, he succeeded in doing that. But he went back to Franklin County about 10 years later, 1860. He had to attend to family business. His mother was ill. While he was there, he married Phoebe Apperson. She made sure that he had a good education, so in order to do that, she took him to Europe several times, particularly starting when he was 10 years old. They spent a year and a half there, and there are many funny stories that come out of that period. William Randolph was a very naughty little place to stay. So then after he left, after he came back, well, when he got to be a young man, his mother, I'm my list of my way, it was the first tour of the day. I better get to here. The place that most wealthy young men went to get a good education was Harvard. Harvard. He was not really well liked at Harvard by some of his professors because he continued to treat the practice of social throughout his career. But the truth of the matter is that he got a lot of his ideas from Joseph Pulitzer. After he left Pulitzer's employ, he went to his father. His father had owned a newspaper. We will be stopping at a terrace above the pool here where you'll be able to get a good overall shot, if that's what you'd like. Neptune pool, named for the figures on the largest antique on this spot. The largest antique is the temple structure across the way here. That temple structure is made up of bits and pieces of Roman temples about 1,700 years old. The figures on the structure, well, we used to say they're about 400 years old, but we're constantly updating our information here. Currently they're telling us we don't know how old they are, so let's call them 400 years old. That's what happened, huh? Mr. Hearst added those figures. Bits and pieces of Roman temple. Apparently he thought it was all one temple when he first got it. Got it over here uncrated, found out it wasn't, and you can see quite clearly, if you look closely at the columns and the top of the columns, they are all different. But he wanted it anyway, so they put it up. Morgan was a brilliant woman. She was the first woman to graduate from the University of California at Berkeley with a degree in civil engineering. About 3 days horseback ride. Oh, it's only down to all 50 of us to fit in. So you will have to keep walking.
How would you fight it? I think I'd like to sell that one. You say, hey, I'm not going to sell that one.
It's a very hard volcanic material. In fact, it's so hard, it was quite a bit harder than the bronze tools that the Egyptians had to work her with. So you're certainly looking at several years of someone's life, possibly several lives. We're going to have an opportunity to sit on some marble benches, get a little drink of water, smoke.
So how old are these people?
They are 32 to 3,500 years old. I meant to mention that. Thank you.
You want to go swimming?
I'm sorry, the man on horseback is called the Duke of Burgundy. The whole piece is called the Duke of Burgundy Goes Hunting. And the gentlemen on either side of the door are Visigoths. All three pieces are from the 1500s. On a little bit to each side of the door, there are a couple of bas-reliefs. On the left-hand side is St. Peter with the keys, and on the right-hand side is St. Paul. Those two bas-reliefs from the 1600s. So he had his ironworker at Trimkeller make the fan-stick portion, and as you can see, it looks like a Roman mosaic on the floor in there. We just recently restored it, so rather than have to restore it again, we'll just...
That one in the corner. Suppose that was the jacuzzi with a little one.
One at a time. What? The fireplace and the screen belong to and in New York one is the Hearst building. It turns out no, it's still it had that one cleaned. One of the stories that you hear is that cost Mr. Hearst $6,000 when he bought it. Well, when he had it cleaned, it cost $20,000. So that one has been cleaned, and of course everything is restored on a regular basis as necessary. What's the piece in the middle? Oh, that was just a little preview of one of these art deals. And I think we got to put it in the box, too. This Hearst has really millions of dollars in commercial companies here at the art deal in California. Flags up in the deck. The ceiling is a 400-year-old ceiling. You'll notice that the ceiling in here is what we call Gothic, in the sense of being praying hands, arches, and to draw the eye upward. He was looking for a vaulted ceiling for this room, never found one, so this was sort of a consolation prize. 400-year-old ceiling from Bologna, Italy. We think it's called the Saint ceiling. We think it might have been a wall one time, because if you notice, the saints are not looking straight down, they're looking that way a little bit. So possibly some motion. Something else. What type of wood? It's either flags. The flags are basically for color in here. You might not have got noisy in here. What they are is they are flags that belong to the different districts within the city of Siena, Italy. Something else we'd like to get? How did the day? I don't think people spend a lot of time inside during the day. I think they were out by the pool a lot of times. Yes? Those are also church stalls. These are 600-year-old Italian church stalls from the Cathedral of Argel in the Mountains. This is the morning room. You were staying in the main house here, and this was, by the way, the main house was the only place you could get a meal. There was no room service here. As Mr. pointed out, this was too small. You were standing in the main house here, and in the morning you wake up and come downstairs. Morning breakfast is here. Breakfast hour, the church is dining hall here for birthday style. You might go downstairs for 2 days to eat. Sometimes it gets boring. You do beautiful day. You might get a cup of coffee. You might read a newspaper. Of course, you know whose newspaper you'd be reading. And when your breakfast is ready, you would eat. How many what? Live here? Only about 40 around. Roughly. How old is the land? I don't know about that. They've been electrified. I can make up some. When did that happen?
On the last 3 decades, so locating and looking at miles to turn up a lot of junk, but occasionally, if you're lucky, you may find a rare masterpiece. And I think I did. The largest, costliest, taken at that wonderful carefree period in our history. The First World War had ended, and the second one was nowhere in sight. That youth on the right is Adolf Monju, That teenager on the right is Carol Lombard. Nothing pleased the host more than when everybody got out of doors in the afternoon to take part in some group activity. He was proud of San Simeon and eager for his guests to enjoy it to the full. Yes, Mr. Hearst was a happy man at San
That lady
Simeon.
is not a secretary.
Whether he
it's
was
an
conducting
architect.
business with a secretary or welcoming a famous guest like Lindy. In town, he was very reticent about having his picture taken. But up here, he seemed to have no objection. He'd even kid about it. Part of
About 3 feet deep out there. And 10 feet deep from side to side. It's flat bottom. So it is. Now, some people say that many of Mr. Hearst's guests were not good swimmers. They did not enjoy it.
Oh, yeah.